So I was down in the East Village of Manhattan with my son. We had been listening to some live music, and in between sets, we decided to step out and grab some pizza. As we were walking out of the club, a guy follows us and calls after me. It's my friend Rob, a guy I've known for about 20 years. Now, you'd think I'd know him pretty well after all that time, but I wasn't really prepared for what he was about to say. He told me he wanted to come out.
It feels just like somebody who would need to come out sexually. I feel like I'm in the closet. I feel like I can't say what it is that I want to say. I have to endure comments that people make and just smile and look at them and not say really what it is that I want to say. And there's an assumption that people make when they talk to you, that they just think that they know what's going on with you. So I feel like I am in the closet to the same degree that someone who's sexually in the closet. So I think the best way to put it is that I need to come out.
As Rob put it, he feels closeted in the same way as someone who is sexually in the closet. But his particular stigma seems relatively new.
Well, since the election season started and Trump became a viable candidate, it was sometimes just in the form of jokes that people would make about Don Trump, and I would have to just act like I wasn't interested, or that jokes just weren't funny to me, or I just didn't get it.
I see what you're saying, Rob. Maybe the joke was on the rest of us, but who's laughing now? From West Virginia Public Broadcasting, this is Us and Them. It's the podcast where we tell stories from America's cultural divides. I'm Trey Kay. So you just heard, in form of a street corner confessional, my friend Rob coming out as a Trump supporter, and also as a Republican from the borough of Queens, New York, the place where our 45th president was born and raised.
Like many other Republicans, I wanted someone who was more of a mainstream candidate. I was looking at some of the governors instead, who had more executive experience running large organizations that were governmental. But one by one, they got knocked out in the primary, and he won the primary.
Over the years, Rob has been silently observing anti-Republican rants. Years ago, he used to come watch my band Uncle Moon, and he recalls me ranting about George W. Bush. But he understands that's New York, and that it's a dark blue city in a mostly blue state.
I also hear it from the pulpit at my temple. I read it on Facebook constantly. There's just a string one after the other on social media that's just anti-Trump. And these are my friends. And these are my coworkers, my colleagues, my neighbors, people that would otherwise normally support me, I believe, and who are just in my life.
Well, how does it make you feel?
Now that I'm coming out, it makes me feel like I have a weight lifted off my shoulders, like I can be myself. I know that there's a risk. There are people that are going to hear this, and they're going to change the way that they feel about me. They're going to make assumptions about me. They're going to automatically label me with certain words. The common narratives that people have about Donald Trump: hates women, hates immigrants. Racist, yeah.
Xenophobe, anti-Muslim.
Yeah. Thank you. You could probably go on and on. And they're going to assume that I'm the same in that regard, and that's a danger. Obviously, I don't want to have that negative association.
Comedian Aziz Ansari, who happens to be Muslim, hosted the first Saturday Night Live of the Trump era. In his opening monologue, he cautioned against castigating Trump supporters.
We can't demonize everyone that voted for Trump. Some people are like, everyone that voted for Trump is a dumb, racist, misogynist, homophobe. All right, hold on. We're talking about 63 million people. Don't judge them by their worst. I'm sure there's some people that had different political priorities. I'm sure there's some people that voted for him with reservations. I'm sure there's a lot of people that voted for Trump The same way a lot of people listen to the music of Chris Brown, where it's like, hey man, I'm just here for the tunes. I'm just here for the tunes. I don't know about that other stuff. I just like the dancing and the music. I don't condone the extracurriculars.
Ansari makes a good point. I mean, I would be dreaming to suggest that there is a candidate out there with whom I share the same perspectives 100% of the time. But after hearing Rob's testimony, I wanted to know what people in other parts of the country were thinking about Donald Trump. What were their hopes and dreams and expectations for his incoming administration? So some of the Us and Them producers split up and went north, east, and south to simply listen. Some of these Trump voters defend the president because he's human, prone to err, and that we should expect that from someone who is not a politician. Just like his cabinet nominees, these Trump supporters don't share his view on everything he said. For example, whether or not building a wall on our southern border is even practical or necessary. But what can we deduce from a Trump supporter? Well, for starters, there's the obvious thing. They didn't want Hillary Clinton for president. Simple enough. But beyond that, not much. Their perspectives were not uniform. They cover a spectrum from far-right conservative to leftist liberal. And not unlike Trump himself, some supporters seem to hold multiple positions that were contradictory. Where I live in New York, Hillary Clinton won the state decisively. If you look at a map of the state and see how the counties voted, it was New York City and all the metropolitan areas, Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo, that came out big for Clinton. But these blue counties are surrounded by a sea of red. And one of the rubiest red areas near where I live in New York's Hudson Valley is Greene County. I remember my West Virginia mom coming up to visit me, and we drove up to Greene County. And she was surprised and said, Trey, I can't believe it. There are rednecks in New York. I mean, this is a place where you could see a Confederate battle flag waving out of the back of a pickup truck.
My name is Zandra Boyce. I am a legal secretary for a law firm in Catskill.
We met Zandra in Greene County. I'm not sure we'd describe her as a redneck. She loves dogs. She gets her news from CBS and NPR. She identifies as Republican, but as she put it, she votes for who she wants to vote for. She voted for Obama in 2008, Romney in 2012. This time, she opted for Donald Trump. But she also helped re-elect Chuck Schumer, the senior Democrat senator from New York. Zandra seems to accept social inclusion, but she doesn't want to make a big deal out of it. And she doesn't want it to distract from what she thinks are society's larger issues.
We're not as strong as we used to be. We're really not. I mean, you know, all that transgender stuff and all this stuff is just not necessary. Who cares about this stuff? They can be whatever they want to be, and they can use whatever bathroom they feel they're more comfortable using. Close the door. That's that. Stop making a big issue about it. It's just not that important in life.
And that was also Trump's position on the issue, back in April when he said that transgender people should use the bathroom they feel is appropriate. That was until June when he came out in support of the North Carolina bathroom bill, which requires people to use the public restroom consistent with the gender on their birth certificates. Although Zandra differs with Trump on that issue, she voted for him because...
I think we had enough of Democrats. I heard many bad things about Hillary, although I've heard bad things about Trump. I am pro-military, and he was. He wants to get the country back in order, and I think he needs to be given a chance to do that. And I don't think Hillary would have done that.
Zandra isn't alone. Many people we spoke with are concerned about the state of our military, and by extension, our veterans. President Trump mentioned this in his inaugural speech.
For many decades, we've enriched foreign industry at the expense of American industry, subsidized the armies of other countries while allowing for the very sad depletion of our military.
Trump also mentioned jobs and industry several times.
One by one, the factories shuttered and left our shores, with not even a thought about the millions and millions of American workers that were left behind. The wealth of our middle class has been ripped from their homes and then redistributed all across the world.
We heard a lot of concern about jobs and industry returning to the U.S. And although many of the people we spoke to welcome the return of manufacturing jobs, some are not convinced that it would help.
Hopefully he'll get people working, and hopefully he'll get some of these jobs going. Now think about it. Even if they open a steel mill, who's going to work in a steel mill? Nobody's going to work in a steel mill. You ain't getting this young people to work in a steel mill. They're not going to do it because it's manual labor. They're not going to do it.
Harry Payton is 75 years old and a farmer in Greene County. He watches Fox News and really likes Bill O'Reilly.
He's right to the point. He'll ask you serious questions, and he wants serious answers, or he'll cut you off. You see how he cuts people off. So, I mean, just say what you have to say and don't beat around the bush.
Harry doesn't mince words either, and he doesn't toe the line. His view of America's labor force also informs his view on immigration, which deviates from the Republican platform and from President Trump, the man who got his vote.
The people, they're coming here to work. It's that simple. I'm not saying everybody is, but you can't knock everybody. I have some people that live right across the road here. They're from El Salvador. I mean, these guys work. They're working constantly. And there's jobs that they do that no one else around here will do because they're lazy.
It's not entirely clear where President Trump stands on other bedrock Republican issues, like smaller government, lower taxes, skepticism of climate change, or abortion. He didn't even mention any of these things in his inaugural speech. With abortion, at least, he says that over the years he's evolved from pro-choice to pro-life. Here's Harry again.
I believe if somebody's going to have an abortion, that should be their decision to make, not the government, not the newsman, not the congressman or anybody else, or not the president. If you're going to have an abortion, there's a reason to have the abortion. You have it. You don't have an abortion just because you want to get rid of the kid.
My name is Mario Tadaro. I'm owner and operator of Tadaro Salumeria in Main Street in Wyndham, New York. It's an Italian specialty shop. We're in business as of 2017. It'll be 100 years for us.
Mario's parents were a part of the wave of immigrants that came through Ellis Island in the early 1900s, when Italians were not necessarily welcomed upon arrival. Mario believes that Trump will fix today's immigration problems, and not by building a wall.
People are not working like they did. I mean, I can't get enough help. Definitely, we need immigrants coming over from Mexico because now all the small jobs like a food store that I am, need someone to help me cook. I need someone to clean the store, stock the shelves. The local people are just not doing it.
In his inauguration speech, Trump's talk of securing the borders seemed to focus more on preventing jobs from leaving than from preventing immigrants looking for work in the U.S.
We must protect our borders from the ravages of other countries making our products, stealing our companies, and destroying our jobs.
As for other conservative priorities, Mario is a proud member of the National Rifle Association, which wholeheartedly endorsed Donald Trump. He also doesn't support higher taxes. But as for America taking in, for example, Syrian refugees, and Trump's proposal for extreme vetting of Muslims, Mario doesn't share the president's suspicion.
I have a lot of customers that are Muslims, and they can't tell me why that someplace that they want to kill us. That I don't understand. I don't know what can they do. No one has an answer because majority of Muslims are good people. It's just that 1%, but there's 1%, 2%. My idea is 2% of the population are maniacs. So we got 300 million. That means you got 3 million maniacs in America. You're right. That's a little too much. But Trump seems to be the one that he says as it is.
After a break, we head to South Carolina for more opinions on what should be our nation's priorities.
If you want to come here, you should be able to come in. No crazy amount of paperwork, no government bureaucracy. You know what? You want to come over here and try it? Great.
I'm Trey Kay, and this is Us and Them, which is supported in part by the West Virginia Humanities Council, the CRC Foundation, and the Daywood Foundation.
Music lifts us up and brings us together, even when we can't get together in person. Mountain Stage brings you live performances on the air, online, and in our podcast. They remind you how it feels to be in a live audience listening to live music. This is Larry Gross, host of Mountain Stage. Find a link to our stations and our podcast online at mountainstage.org.
Back in my home state of West Virginia, some of my colleagues from West Virginia Public Broadcasting visited a high school in Clay County as students watched the inaugural speech. Unlike New York, where Hillary swept the major metropolitan areas, Trump took every county in West Virginia. Clay County, just an hour of Charleston, is the home of the Fola Mining Company, which has had a tough time with the decline in the coal industry. Here's student Callie Stone.
My uncle was actually the boss over at Fola, and when they laid everyone off, he actually had to go on welfare, and I feel like that is something that West Virginia shouldn't have to do. We shouldn't have to go and take the government's money. That's what it means for me, is just having jobs again. I've been on the Trump train since the beginning, and today I was holding back tears because I'm so excited for America, and I'm excited that we're getting a new opportunity at something great.
And yes, together we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Goose Creek is also outside of the beautiful, charming city of Charleston, South Carolina, that is. It's a kind of a strip mall-strewn suburb, home to a naval base with plantations converted into golf courses. Hillary did really well in Charleston, but in Berkeley County, where Goose Creek is situated, Trump bested Clinton by nearly 20 points.
Donald Trump wasn't my first, nor my second choice, brother. He was, when it got down to it, him versus her. There's no damn way I'm voting for her.
Patrick Hancock owns and runs the Heroes Pub in Goose Creek. It's a place adorned with lots of red, white, and blue. The place is filled with tough biker dudes wearing leather jackets with Vietnam vet patches. They drink beer and smoke cigarettes while playing pool in front of the Gadsden flag that displays a springing rattlesnake with the slogan, "Don't tread on me." Beside the bar, there's a sign that lets people know this establishment proudly serves people who are carrying firearms. Patrick told me that even though he was firmly against Hillary Clinton, he doesn't line up entirely with Donald Trump either. Oh, and if you're listening with kids, Patrick uses some salty language.
It's America, man. I think you should be able to let people in who are going to come in and work. Hey, they work hard. They love their families. The Mexican people that I've ever met, some of them can't speak English. Do you know how big a nuts you got to have to go to a country that you can't speak the language in to get a job to support your family because the third world shithole you live in has gotten so bad that you can't do it and live and do it with any dignity? If you want to come here, you should be able to come in. No crazy amount of paperwork, no government bureaucracy. You know what? You want to come over here and try it? Great. My concern is terrorists. My concern is not the Mexicans. My concern is terrorists.
I sell live bait to roughly about 75 to 80 bait shops, bait and tackle, in the New England area. And that includes, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and of course, Mass.
Tom Stankauskas lives in Middleborough, Massachusetts, right in the heart of Red Sox country. But he's been a diehard Yankees fan since Little League. When he isn't listening to news on the radio, he's tuned into a country music channel. Oh, and he likes watching movies.
I really like horror movies. I don't know why, but horror movies always is just a great thing. Drama, anything like that.
On a typical day, Tom will work from 5 a.m. till 9 at night. On this Saturday morning, we found him plowing 15 inches of snow that had fallen overnight. He took a break from plowing and spoke with us in the cab of his pickup.
I'm, just real happy that we have a new president now. I mean, it's maybe the best move the country has made for 8 years. I think our nation has got many problems and is not going to be solved overnight. Anything a little bit different than what we had should help the nation. And I just really believe that, it's just time for a change.
Now, Massachusetts is among the bluest of blue states, with small patches of red and pink. Middleborough, which Trump won by 14 points, is a small town of 23,000, situated halfway between Boston and Providence, Rhode Island. It's the home of ocean spray and calls itself the cranberry capital of the world, due to its many bogs.
I've been here for roughly 40 years and seen the ups and downs, and especially the last 8 years has been really down with business-wise. Crazy prices on diesel fuel that we use an awful lot here. Like I got 4 trucks, and on one truck it takes about $400 to fill up the fuel tank. So there's just times that, it just makes it rough to make a living. Like today, we're out plowing snow for my own place. And like people said, it's kind of nice to have a plow. You can go out and make money. I said, gee whiz, I just try to plow my own place because they would charge me between $300 and $400 to plow my yard.
In addition to his disappointment with President Obama's management of the economy, Tom also feels that terrorism is a problem. For him, the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing remains a vivid example of violence carried out by people who immigrated here.
Yeah, we just have so many immigrants coming into this country. And like he said, building a wall, but that will never happen. But a lot of our problem is with people coming in, and, towel heads or whatever you want to call them. I mean, just the bombing that we had with that Russian guy on the marathon, that, people got killed and lost legs and arms and everything like that. And how do they get here?
Many of the people we spoke with expressed concern about terrorism and domestic safety, and they believe President Trump will address these concerns.
We will reinforce old alliances and form new ones and unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism, which we will eradicate completely from the face of the earth.
The Trump supporters that we spoke to and who have written to me on my Facebook page believe that for the past 8 years, our homeland security has been compromised at the expense of political correctness. With Trump's inaugural speech, they believe that a new sheriff is in town. But I think back to that guy Tom in Middleborough, Mass., referring to Muslim people as towelheads. Does this new Trump era mean that folks can be free to make disparaging, disrespectful comments about people? I wonder, is this part of their vision for making America great again? So I'm back in the East Village of Manhattan with my friend Rob, who just revealed to the world that he voted for Donald Trump. Rob, you've come out now. How do you feel?
I'm scared. I'm worried that people who know me are going to have a different perception of me that they did before. They may never have even noticed that I don't talk politics. They may never have even noticed that I just kind of nod my head and when they speak about things. They're going to naturally tag me as being a racist and hating women and hating Muslims, and that's something I'm going to have to deal with. Just like when people come out of the closet for sexual reasons, you see who your real friends are, and you see who supports you and who doesn't, and you see who will stand by your side and who will look at you as a person. There are going to be people that are going to say, well, I disagree with your politics, but I still love you. And there are going to be people who say, I can't love you now because of your politics. And that's what's going to happen. I feel so much better, though, now knowing who those people are going to be. And I hope that the really special people in my life will stand by me.
Rob, I do disagree with your politics, but I still love you.
I love you too, Trey.
So, here we are. Rob has come out as a Trump supporter. And who am I to argue with his perspective? Although we can and will disagree on Trump's demeanor, communication style, and general aptitude as our commander-in-chief, Rob and I are still going to be friends in 4 months and even 4 years. But what will the next 4 years look like? If Trump succeeds, maybe more people will come out of the closet and take a hand in the outcome. If he fails, well, as the saying goes, success has 1,000 fathers, but failure is an orphan. My buddy Rob uses the phrase coming out to describe his fear of backlash among his friends for being a Republican and a Trump supporter. And while some Trump supporters feel closeted, others feel loud and proud. But the way I see it, supporting Donald Trump or his party is not the equivalent to homosexuals fearing the stigma of revealing their sexuality. In fairness, the LGBTQ community may have cause for uneasiness given Trump's inconsistent positions on gay rights. And they may have legitimate reason for fear based on Vice President Pence's legislative record on these issues when he was governor of Indiana.
At the bedrock of our politics will be a total allegiance to the United States of America. And through our loyalty to our country, we will rediscover our loyalty to each other. When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice.
Maybe so, Mr. President. But hopefully your vision of patriotism over prejudice includes all prejudice, regardless of whether it's based on party, religion, race, gender, or orientation. Like it or not, the people we spoke to are more nuanced and can't be categorized as merely racist, sexist, Islamophobic, or what have you. Just because they voted for a man who unapologetically courted controversy with his comments on these and many other subjects. These voters don't align with all of his divisiveness. After all of this, if there's one thing that I can hope for, maybe we can have more faith in Trump supporters, our neighbors, our fellow Americans, than the man that they have chosen to lead us. You've been listening to Us and Them. This show was produced by Mitch Hanley, Lori Stern, Nicholas Tantillo, and me, Trey Kay. Special thanks to 100 Days in West Virginia for use of the audio of the Clay County High School students. 100 Days in Appalachia is a collaborative reporting project from West Virginia Public Broadcasting, West Virginia University's Reed College of Media, and the Daily Yonder. For more on this project, follow along at 100daysinappalachia.com. Michael Lipton and Tristan Lozow wrote and performed our theme music. Mark Lerner designed our logo. Rita Krisafi and Mariana Trofimova designed our website at usandthempodcast.com and provide us with images for the web. Our interns are Nicholas Tantillo and Iana Robitaille. The marvelous people at West Virginia Public Broadcasting make Us and Them possible. So do grants from the National Endowment for the Humanities, the West Virginia Humanities Council, the CRC Foundation, and the Daywood Foundation. See you next time on Us and Them.
Support for this podcast comes from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.